How can you make yourself more approachable to successful men? How can you actually draw the attention of a successful man who you want to get to know on you? How can you make sure that this man actually approaches you? One of the biggest things and changes you can do when it comes to the way you dress and the way you walk and the way you carry yourself is to think about the difference between appearing hot and appearing elegant. And I know that this, for me as a guy to mention that, is always putting me in a tricky situation because, well, it's something where some of my coaching clients react a little bit triggered because they don't want me to point it out. However, my desire to help you is and will always be bigger than my desire to be liked by you. So sometimes I have to say things that in the first moment might sound offensive, but when you then think about them, when you read the research about it, and when you then put it into practice, you will see how your dating life changes. And there's been so many scientific studies from the realm of evolutionary biology that prove that when you present yourself as what we could describe as the traditional hot look, which is actually the kind of way how a lot of women present themselves on their Instagram accounts, then you will attract men who are not looking for a relationship. And if you, however, present yourself as an elegant woman in an elegant way, by walking elegantly, by dressing in an elegant style, with an elegant dress, for example, then you will naturally attract men who are looking for a long-term relationship. And I know that this sounds politically incorrect. I know you might not want to hear this, but I've had so many coaching clients, also younger coaching clients in their 20s, who by changing, and I kid you not, by changing the way they just presented themselves on Instagram, instead of presenting themselves as hot, they presented themselves as elegant. And boom bada boom, the quality of the man who reached out to them completely changed. It went from all kinds of guys who reached out to them, telling them how hot they are and wanting to get laid, to men who are actually interested in a serious relationship. And if you are listening to the Meet Your Millionaire podcast, I assume that you don't just want to have a one-night stand with your successful man, with your millionaire, but you actually want to have a committed relationship that might even lead to marriage down the line. And that's why being elegant and presenting yourself as elegant helps you to no longer get approached by the guys who are just looking for a one-night stand, but to instead get approached by the men who are actually looking for a relationship. And then remember that no matter where you go, you can always hold eye contact with the man who you have an interest in. And whenever I mention this in a coaching session, this is usually the moment where my client says, yeah, but I want him to make the first move. And yes, I get it. You still want him to make the first move, but sometimes you need to do 10% or 20% of the first move to make him make the first move. Because if you, for example, are sitting at a bar and you are interested in a guy, or let's say you are sitting in a restaurant or cafe, wherever you might be sitting, and you are interested in a man who looks like a handsome, successful guy, and you think to yourself, ooh, I wish he would approach me. He might think to himself, oh my God, she's so beautiful. I'm sure she has a boyfriend. I'm sure her boyfriend will arrive every minute. Oh, her boyfriend is probably in the bathroom and will come out in 2 minutes. Oh no, I better not approach her. And that's why it's so important for you to hold eye contact with men. This tip alone, this very tiny, almost, you can say insignificant tip, has changed the dating lives of so many of my coaching clients by always holding eye contact and smiling at a man that you have an interest in. And when it comes to your smile, make sure that you smile in a genuine way. You don't want to use this kind of fake Hollywood smile. I mean, I always use as an example Britney Spears, especially in the older pictures when she was very famous back then. And she always had this fake smile. I always knew when I looked at that smile, something is wrong there. She can't be happy because it's that fake smile where your eyes don't move and where you just show your teeth. But you want to communicate to him that you really like him, that you're interested in him. That's why a genuine smile always wins. And our biological programming can always differentiate between a genuine smile and a smile that is kind of forced. And then when it comes to you making yourself more approachable to successful men, remember that if you stay in an environment that has no successful man, where you can't meet any successful man, then of course you can't make yourself more approachable to successful men. I know it sounds like the most logical thing on planet Earth, but I also know from a lot of coaching sessions that a lot of the women, before they started working with me, didn't really think about this fact. They just thought they can randomly, magically, somehow bump into a successful man somewhere down the street. And when I then asked them if they actually live in the most affluent neighborhood of their city, they say, oh, no, actually I don't. And when I then asked them, how can you imagine running into a very successful man in a neighborhood where there are no really successful people, then the answer is usually, oh, I didn't even think about that. That's why it's important to think about that when it comes to you making yourself more approachable to successful men, because the tips that I shared with you, yes, they will help you to become more approachable, but you want to specifically become more approachable to successful men. So you need to surround yourself with successful men who could potentially approach you. And that's why it's always a good idea, no matter when we're talking about a gym, or when we're talking about a supermarket, or when we talk about a cafe, to always go into the areas of your city where all the successful men live. I mean, one of the best examples is Beverly Hills. If you walk through the streets of Beverly Hills and you then also hold eye contact with a guy that you like, and you sit yourself, and you then take a seat in a cafe, and there you relax with a coffee, and then again you hold eye contact with men, then the likelihood that a successful man approaches you is way, way higher than if you, for example, go into the least affluent neighborhood of that city, and there you hope that you will meet the man of your dreams. That's most likely not gonna happen unless his navigation system doesn't work and he takes the wrong turn. So always keep that in mind. And then also keep in mind that when it comes to you making yourself approachable, you want to display a relaxed body language. Yes, you want to be confident, but you want to have an open body language, because if you stand somewhere, and sometimes we do that automatically, we don't even think about it. That's why I want you to become aware of it. And you then, for example, cross your arms in front of your chest. Then, of course, this signals to a man, I do not want to get approached. And maybe it's just the way that you stand there and you're not really aware of it. But then in this moment, I want you to become aware of it and to relax your body, because the more relaxed your body is, the more likely it is that he will approach you. But I truly believe that in order to attract the right man, in order to attract the loving relationship you truly want, you have to come from an energy of love. And that's why I created the Love Magnet Coaching Program for you, which is my 8-week coaching program in which I not only share countless flirting techniques and dating strategies with you that can help you to easily attract the man of your dreams, but I also focus on helping you to truly, and I mean truly and fully, fall in love with yourself and fall in love with your life. And if you want to find out more about this 8-week coaching program, you can go to gethimkeephim.com/magnet or click on the first link in the description.